Good afternoon, it's Michael again here from Australia Online. Today, a part of the other videos we already made, I have one last one to do on the request of my team and students and members of the international education industry. In the last 48 hours, we have received four or five visa refusals from Latin America, not our agency, but from other agencies and schools. Why would I know that? Because they send it to me to review the refusal arguments and looking at the case and analyze the case, what went wrong. I can honestly tell you, seeing the case, that in all those four cases, that was the problem of the GTE. The agents have missed out completely on understanding what GT needs to include. It is absolutely essential that we look at the immigration website. I'm not talking about going into regulations and reading ministry directions. I'm talking only what's available on the Department of Home Affairs website, specifically in the GTE section. What do they want to see? What questions we have to answer? What evidence is required to be provided so the department can believe the story, right? So the problem is that if the applicant or the agent includes information which we cannot retract in the secondary application, that's a fact which stays there. And if that information is the core of the visa refusal, then the student is pretty much gone. Often, however, that information which the student included in the application, in the GT or the application, have never been asked by the department. I'll give you an example. Do I need to include information that my sister is studying in Australia? The answer is no. If you read the regulation, if you look at the definitions, then in telling the department that my sister, who is in Melbourne, Sydney, Adelaide, currently on a student visa, it's not part of an information which is required to be disclosed with the student visa application. And it's not about lying, it's not about hiding the facts, it's just answering the question as it is. The Department of Home Affairs and the regulations define all those terminologies. There's definition for almost every single wording. So if we look at those definitions, if we read those definitions, you don't have to include your sister. You don't have to include naming or mentioning, so not naming, mentioning the fact that your sister is studying in Australia, right? The two visa refusals I've seen today, both had this fundamental mistake imposed or included in the application by the agent. Now we cannot relodge the application because the sisters are in Australia and we cannot change the fact. In both cases, the Department of Home Affairs stated in the visa refusal that, oh, by the way, you also mentioned that you have a sibling in Australia and that decreases your incentives of returning back home. So what I'm trying to tell you guys, be careful what you're telling. Sorry, I start again. Sorry. What I'm trying to tell you is read the question. When you look at the email account, you start answering the question and you're not certain about the answer, or you want to double check whether you understand the question. There's a little question mark next to the question. Click on it, open it and read it, because that's what the department is looking for. The email account is for normal people like yourself or like education agents who are not qualified in migration law to understand the question. So the question mark is there, click on it, and it identifies, it explains the question. It gives you more insight about the question. Because those two clients lost their chances of studies in Australia because either them or their education agent didn't read the question. So I feel this unnecessary loss, and those two kids' dreams are now probably not going to be realized. We're running a lot of visa refusals, second time, from Latin American markets particularly, but I analyze every single case. If the refusal is based on a fact we cannot change, even though it has never been required to disclose in the first place, not much we can do. If the refusal is based on the fact that the GT has been written in a very simplistic way or did not address all the information required by the department, we then have an interview, run it with a client, see every single application which was refused from Latin America and has been assessed by us with a reasonable prospect of success, we managed to relodge and obtain the visa. What does it mean? That means that a student has been genuine at the first place. It wasn't presented the correct way to the department. So it's not about just writing some information how great Australia is and writing all your experience from high school. That's often irrelevant, right? Look at the immigration website, type GTE, it will come up. You have the complete guidance on it. You just need to follow those questions, those points, and answer them.